Tough times down in the Shire for the Cronulla Sharks. They're 0-4 to start the season. Brett Kimmorley, what's going on?
Yeah, that's right. The only side that haven't won a game this year. Obviously, there's probably a little bit of pressure now starting to come on the coach, pressure starting to come on the players. And obviously, star recruit Ben Barber hasn't lived up to any expectations. So it was the year that they had some solidarity back. Obviously, last year was the drug drama, the suspension. The coach was gone for 12 months. They brought new high-performance staff. They got new coaching staff to go with Shane Flanagan. He was back. He was expected to be better and everything else. So I think they're really struggling in the style of football they're playing. I think they're really struggling in cohesion. And I'm unsure what's going to happen after what's happened with the Essendon court battle yesterday. These players were all told to plead guilty last year, put your hand up and admit that you were guilty of something they said they were always innocent of. Essendon got off scot-free yesterday. The club supported Essendon players so strongly. Now that's come out. I don't know if this is going to create any more fractions to what you'd imagine is already a strained football club there at Cronulla.
You mentioned the guys who pleaded guilty at the Sharks and then Essendon yesterday getting off scot-free. How is Paul Gallen, Wade Graham, how are these guys feeling?
Well, you have to ask them themselves. But the last year you heard them so heavily speak about they will admit to taking it, but they're innocent. They wanted to let everyone know that they were innocent of actually being cheaters in theory. They didn't want that name tagged to them forever. So I think they're going to be questioning now whether that was the right path they went on last year. I know it was only a small suspension they did serve the end of last year. It was like a little slap on the wrist, but they've still got that hanging over their head now that they did admit to some guilt of some description just to clear their name. So I'll be thinking there's got to be some dramas in-house there a little bit. I think they've got to certainly rally and try and get a win. They play the Roosters this week. They play South Sydney coming up. They play Newcastle coming up. They play Penrith coming up. So it's an extremely tough time there for the Sharks. And you would have thought that Ramonda Stadium, or the old Shark Park, as it was known, was the graveyard. It was Saturday night, Bashathon, everything else. They've now had a club record of 10 home game losses in a row. So
incredible.
It's extremely hard times, and obviously we'll see now how well of a coach Shane Flanagan is, if he can repair some confidence, get a win, and the club can just keep going forward.
They stuck by Shane Flanagan last year. Is he now the most under-pressure coach in the NRL?
He'd be pretty close to it, yeah. Obviously they re-signed him at a time where he was serving a suspension. So they re-signed him for 3 years in support and faith, knowing that he was the guy for the future. The club showed a lot of faith in Shane as a coach. Now he's got to try to repay a bit of that faith by turning this football side around and getting a win and making them just competitive and slowly and surely start to turn around. The fans are down, the sponsors are down. They've got a massive redevelopment going on there at Cronulla. But winning football games as a head coach is the only thing that you were employed for.
Will we ever see the Ben Barber of 2012 again?
No, I don't think we ever will. I think that was a season where he trained extremely hard under Des Hasler. It was a year that the Dogs had a style of football that no one had seen for a period of time. He floated in on the back of that. So I think we'll never get that again. I don't think we ever got the Jared Hayne of the Dally M of 2009 ever again as well. So they're just hot periods that some of these players go on. He's a bigger, heavier Ben Barber. He doesn't have the same pace that he used to have in the old days. And they're trying to turn him into a ball playing 5'8". So I think traditionally he has to go back to the fullback position, but I do not think under the Sharks style of football you'll see anything that mirrors what we saw in the past.
Tough times for the Sharkies ahead.